Hello and welcome to the SorareAndrews podcast brought to you by Sorare Data. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined once again by Andy Black, who is...
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby. And first comment in is Jimmer, who I probably should have invited, to be honest.
Yeah, you should have. You should have. For sure.
Maybe we'll have another one and just really milk the content out of your extravaganzas together. Jimmer even came in 90 minutes early just to say he was first. So bravo, Jimmer. Ja Kun won like same time, but second. ZM Star says, surely you're back in the office because of all your globetrotting. Not yet. Not yet. Thank you to everybody for joining us. I see David Alves here, Jay Vick, Mike Bastin, John Andrews with the very clever Europa Conference place for me, 7th, which is nice play on words. And Giuseppe here said, let's go right when I was about to start it. Right before. And I was like, Andy, Giuseppe said it's time to go. So we go. Quinny, what's up? Thank you for joining. Surface is here. Oscar. Ooh, Oscar looks like he might be a Sorare Burger Boy.
Ooh, Burger Boys.
How about that? Shout out to all the Sorare Burger Boys out there. Chani, how are you doing? Zarchi's here and Blue Tomatoes. Guys, thank you so much. Oh, and Shaforkal is here as well. So thank you for joining us. If you guys could please hit the like button, feel free to do that. Not feel free. Just do it. Just do it. Andy, what have you been up to?
Nothing. Not much. How about you?
Just working. That's about it.
You spent some time in Miami, I guess?
I did. Spent some time in Dallas before that.
I think I remember that.
Got to see 50 minutes of a Major League Soccer game. But no more.
Yeah, that was kind of it was kind of a little bit of a letdown that we only got to see half of that game.
So for those of you who need some background, Andy and I and a few others met up in Dallas. We went to the FC Dallas, St. Louis City SC. Did I get that right?
I don't know anymore.
I think that's.
I'll just let it go. I'll let it go.
But I think I actually got it right, didn't I? St. Louis City SC?
Yeah.
SCL, SCC. So we were going to go to that game. Thank you to Germ, who is not here, but Germ, when you come in, hello. Germ hooked us up with some tickets before the game, or tickets to the game, tickets to get up kind of right down on the field before the game. There was this season ticket holder club bar that we could go to. It was great.
That was actually excellent because when it was raining, we got out of the rain and we got to go into the little special area.
Yes. So
nice.
Yeah, we saw the first half of the game. It was a very boring MLS 0-0 draw to start. But we were like, you know what? This halftime, everybody was going to get all fired up. And then the Thunder and Lightning started. And we got 5 minutes in. And they were like, we're going to have a 30-minute lightning delay. And they never played again.
The true heartbreaker there is when you have a goalkeeper on either of those teams and they only get 55 minutes in.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Paxton Pomykal in my Cap 240 team, and 50 minutes is not as good as 90 minutes. So
he actually only played like 30 minutes in that game. He was rolling around on the ground for the other 20.
It was a lot of rolling for Paxton. I wasn't overly impressed, frankly, by anyone in that game. Although, actually, the only one I will say, and I don't want to say this because I keep trying to buy his card and I'm not doing it, but your boy Lowen is like big. He's too good for this league. And I don't know. We'll see.
I didn't think he was that great. He hasn't been great, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, yes. So anyway, we went to Dallas, and then we went our separate ways. I went to Miami for Sorare Data. I don't even know what to call it.
Con.
Sorare Data Con. And Andy, you got to go to Liverpool to start, and it all went from there. But I feel like I've heard bits and pieces from different people who were there. I've seen some videos. Obviously, we've all seen the Harry Trades banger, which apparently there was a deflection I heard, which I said to Harry, I hope because he has footage of it, he should just edit the deflection out, like just make it look like he
I'll
did
be
it.
honest, I didn't see a deflection, and if there was, Opta still would have ruled it a goal. So
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I will say the other thing that I've heard from multiple people who were there is that Andy Black is actually a pretty decent footballer.
I
And
mean, when you can hide it like left or right back, and you're steady Eddie, you just get the job done. Yeah,
I'm just saying, Andy, there are some positive reviews of your performance. I didn't get an exact score.
good to
The
hear.
only thing I've heard is that Harry banged 100 because of his goal. I did
He
see
did.
Haber's goal. That was a very nice finish, I have to
Haber's goal
say.
was great. Yeah,
Yeah,
Haber
and
is a big man, plays big man soccer. He's a good player.
he's got some really good feet. There are enough highlights out there
Oh yeah,
that he's got some
Haber can
quick
play.
feet. Yeah. So everybody's like, yeah, there'll be more content out. I'll show everything. And nothing's come out yet, Andy. So damn it, just tell us what the hell happened there.
Well, I'll just say I'll say a few things. Like it was kind of odd for our entire trip to start off with that experience, because the experience was absolutely incredible,
I'm sure.
and it kind of made the rest of the trip. Uh, it felt like the rest of the trip was trying to live up to the expectations
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that experience.
You peaked early.
So yeah, we did. We definitely peaked early, but it was phenomenal. Uh, it started with basically us straight into the locker rooms, which was pretty cool. Get dressed, um, go warm up on
Whose
the
locker did
pitch.
you sit in?
Home team's locker.
But like, don't they have like the player names on it?
Yeah. Oh, I don't even remember. I think I was Simicast.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it was pretty awesome. Got dressed, went out for warm ups. Quinny kind of played coach for our team and had us go through a little warm up routine. It was quite nice. Uh,
Did I hear he brought cones?
he did, yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. The guy, I believe UEFA B license for Quinny. So like, I love that he's clearly using all of his training there.
Yeah, the other part that was like pretty incredible about the experience was like the entire Liverpool staff was there. So like security was opening all the doors for you. Like everywhere that you went, there was like their employees either letting you into an area or just instructing you where to go. But to add on to that, they had match day officials for the game, and they also had people out in the stands shagging balls. So when I was inevitably hitting warm up shots over the bar, there were people working there, running, retrieving the balls, and throwing them back on the field for us, which was just like it was wild that they were like staffed like that for that day or experience or whatever.
Quinny said he did not bring
Oh,
cones.
somebody had cones. I don't know. I saw Quinny setting them up. So
I wasn't there, but I'm just gonna from now on just be like, remember that time Quinny brought cones to Anfield?
yeah.
Sorry.
About the match, I would say the match was incredibly unbalanced.
I heard this. Yeah.
The team I was on had probably two or three of the best players on the pitch on that one side. Was pretty unbalanced. But then again, how do you balance a game like that when you don't know who the people
Sure.
are showing up? And could have changed teams at half. That might have not been a bad idea.
Did they
Made
not
it
check
more.
everybody's SoFIFA scores?
I guess not.
No.
I guess not.
Okay.
The other I will say there was one letdown on the entire experience was they had us playing pennies.
Oh yeah. So I believe before the trip we talked about this, and you
Mhm.
were like, "There is no way I'm wearing a penny."
Yeah.
And then I started seeing videos, and I was like, "They're definitely wearing pennies."
Yeah. It
But you
would have
played
been
through it.
it would have been pretty easy just to tell everyone to bring a white and a red,
Mhm.
or to maybe I mean I would have paid $60 if they told me that, hey, you have to pay $60 to buy a kit.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
half the guys get a Liverpool home kit, half of them get an away kit. Would have been totally fine with that. Just
Hmm.
little tweaks like that, because I know that when like John does his content, when Harry does his content, that's going to affect basically how the content looks. It's going to look a little uh, less good, inferior, however you want to put it. It's not going to look as great with everybody running around in pennies.
It is kind of funny that they would be like, yeah, we're gonna have like official referees and people shagging balls on the sideline, and all of our staff here, and they're like, oh, and here's your penny.
Yeah.
For you to play with. The two comments I want to point out, both from John Andrews, I love this. Like the K-League, we're still waiting for scores to come in from the Anfield game. And was Quinny's team talk, hey guys, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble. Let's get stuck into it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of as somebody picked up his cones. Let's see. Charlie's saying presumably because of sponsorships on the jerseys being worn. That they didn't.
I didn't wear a penny. I didn't wear a penny, and I wore a St. Louis City SC jersey.
Oh man, think of all of the free advertising Purina has gotten now. Surface pennies, not to be confused with pennies, are like practice jersey things. That's all. Yes, Charlie is correct. Pennies, not pennies.
Yeah.
Is USA talk for bibs.
Correct.
Not to be confused with USA bibs, which are what you wear to keep your clothes clean, as well as
what a baby wears.
Clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have lobster bibs for adults. You know.
That's fair.
Yeah. Percho is saying, how does one get a chance to win something like that? Was this just for influencers? I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and they are very upset. And I actually had a lot to say about this, but I'm going to let you address it instead.
I mean,
at least how did you get the gun?
Sure. That's the other part that I think that obviously they got wrong. I think that I don't think that they did a great job of identifying all the like Liverpool super fans.
Yep.
But Jimmer is actually a Liverpool super fan, and I guess he was identified as one of the top Liverpool collectors on the platform. He's got a ton of Liverpool cards, and he wanted to bring a +1. He wasn't going to make that trip without +1, and they agreed. And he asked actually other people before me because he's got a buddy, Zach, that's a huge Liverpool fan. He's got 2 or 3 other buddies that are big Liverpool fans. And I was like 3rd or 4th down on the list, and nobody else could take off work for 2 weeks, and with 2 weeks notice. So take off 2 weeks of work with 2 weeks notice. And I was like, immediately when he asked, I was like, yep, I'm going to make it work somehow.
So I noticed, so the thumbnail of this video includes a Bobby Firmino card. That is Jimmer's card, which he has owned for more than 2 years. Like Jimmer has owned Liverpool cards for a while. He didn't like wait till the launch editions to get all this. Like he has had a lot of them. And the best part is he has all the worst ones. Like
he does.
Firmino is by far his best one. Yeah. And I don't know if, I mean, it was clearly like like Salah and Alisson and Van Dijk are all very expensive, but it also looks like he's like the true hardcore. Like, no, I'm not getting those guys. Give me that James Milner rare card from 2 years ago, excuse me. But anyway, ZM Star saying the best ability is availability, and that is absolutely correct. But so I've heard some it's negative feedback of who was able to be chosen for this, because everybody sees a lot of the influencers going, Nellis and Quinny and Stish and Fiago. Was he there?
Fiago was there.
Right.
Yep.
So I will say that even though he's not actually a Liverpool supporter, I will say that Nellis has been a Trent Alexander-Arnold supporter for quite a while. So I'll give him something for that. But I think one of the big things that a lot of people are overlooking when it comes to all of this stuff, and I've actually heard a little of this kind of feedback with Nellis's other things, or like, because Nellis gets to he went to that Napoli game. I think it was Napoli. And he went to Der Klassiker and El Clasico. And I think one of the things that we all ignore, not all of us, but I think one of the big things that's ignored is these are like the first time that Sorare's doing these types of experiences. And for them, it's really important to show how fun it is and what you get with the experience, and have somebody who can accurately tell you like what the VIP experiences are, what food they're like. There's a lot of stuff that goes into one of these things. And if you get a bunch of people who have no ability to like basically tell a story or to show it, then it doesn't look that fun. And then people are like, oh, you can just go somewhere and go to a game and like have a shrimp cocktail. Like, great. And I think it's really important. It's basically marketing or advertising for these experiences. And Nellis has gone to a bunch of these, but like Quinny goes to the Celtic games and has done a lot of these vlogs. And it's just like, it's important for people to see what these experiences are like. And so it's important to get somebody who can show you exactly what it is and why it's fun and how it's fun and what you can do. And so I expect more of these things to happen, meaning more of these experiences with different clubs. And it does seem like Sorare have a relationship with Liverpool that's different than a lot of other clubs. But it could be that you have these experiences with Napoli or Bayern Munich or PSG, and because of like what they did with Liverpool, Sorare is able to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what people want, how much time you can give people. And so everyone just needs to settle down and let these guys go on these experiences, show us what it's like, and then we can go win them.
I think you 100% nailed that. I think also, I think they do a pretty good job at like understanding when they do kind of miss on a spot. And I think that they'll take some of the feedback that we gave them and that they've heard, and they'll work to get those things right. I mean, I think the wearing the bibs, that's easy feedback for them to fix.
For sure.
There might be challenges with that, but whatever, they'll figure that out and they'll get that right. As far as like inviting the right people, we actually talked about that while we were on the trip. Like, what are different ways that they can identify who the super fans are, but the other big part is like for this experience, I had 2 weeks to, like 2 weeks before the experience, to like pull the trigger and say yes, I can go. 2 weeks is not a lot of time for planning a European trip. At least it's not. Not for me at least. So, and we weren't going to go for 3 days. We were going to go and, make 10 days out of this or whatever we ended up doing. Sure. So, that's not easy for people. So they need to obviously be able to provide more time, but like we also talked, like, is this something where they would allow you to purchase it with coins, or is it something where, like, how are they going to award these in the future? And I know that the new collections they came out with should help them identify who has the best collections for specific teams, which is awesome. It helps with that, that like determining those facts.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Then also, like, too, some of these will need to be, like, I want to say purchasable, where you go into the SoCoin store and you're like, yeah, I want to do that. I'll drop all 200,000, 200 million, whatever it is, coins, and let's go do that.
Yeah, I think I keep going back and forth on what I think the eligibility should be. Like, I think that it makes sense to eventually use Sorare coins to get this type of experience. And obviously it will end up costing a ton. So like, I see there being like this, oh, this is a thing that only whales can get. And I think it was in last week's end product with Quinny and Stish, how they were saying that some of the people who went on this Liverpool trip, like one of them it was the equivalent of like they had 40 limited cards and like 30 were Liverpool. And it was like, well, they clearly, like, Liverpool is their team. And so like, that's something like that. And so, but I like that. I like this idea that they could just be like, hey, we're just going to get the best collectors of this team and invite them. And completely selfishly, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get invited to a Seoul match in Korea. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to make that one. So like, and that kind of goes to what Surface said in the chat here. He said, if Sorare is wondering about the viability of this type of experience as a reward, it just doesn't seem that possible for more than 0.1% of the user base, which may be true, meaning like I'm not going to go to Korea.
Yeah. And let's be real, like this was also an incredibly expensive out-of-pocket trip for all of us that went.
Right.
Well,
right. I was just going to add that. Like
especially
you didn't get airfare and hotels
no.
and yeah.
Yeah,
So
we forked over a ton of money to go on the trip.
yeah. So Mike Basson saying Ultimate Champions apparently have done this with Arsenal, where they make it available to anyone living there and then they do a draw. That's one of those things that I think is fair and would piss off so many people in Sorare, where they were like, hey, we have this competition. It's open for anyone who lives within 20 kilometers of London or whatever the distance is. And Mike's saying, oh, they have at the end of the month, so people have 3 weeks to arrange it. I get it. And Jonathan said the MLS Weekly was cool, but what am I going to do with an MLS All-Star package? I would rather just a jersey. See, I would go to the MLS All-Star game. I would take a jersey also. But
you're also pretty close to where the All-Star game's going to be held, right?
But I mean, I feel like that's the equivalent of somebody winning this Liverpool experience who lives in Liverpool. It's funny. Was there a single Everton fan there, or did nobody even and they didn't even want to pretend they were?
I
know there were some Man United supporters there.
What do they call them? Toffees? Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
I met a few Toffees at a late night casino in Liverpool, but that was about it. 4 a.m. Found a couple Toffees.
Mike Basson saying, I'm off to a River Plate game looking at my collection. Mike, I'll see you there. Let's go.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. That'd be more reasonable for me to go to Argentina than Korea. Maybe. I don't know. Ooh, Oscar saying Scousers, which I think is like a bad word there. Anyway. So you got to Anfield, went to the dressing room, played the game. Was it like game over and everybody goes home? Or
it was game over, get naked and get in the showers. So we did that. Yeah. Showered in the same shower that the team showers in, which I wasn't going to not do that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
When do you get the opportunity to use the shower head that Virgil van Dijk has used before?
Exactly. No, so it was shower up, get changed. They did like a lunch in like their, I think it was like called like the Champion Suite or something like that. It was like catered. Nice. They brought food in. It was really super nice. Coffee, tea. Yeah, it was outstanding. Trying to think. After that, I think was the stadium tour. So we did a tour of the entire stadium. Walked around with a guide that really knew the club well and shared a lot of like experiences and history about the club. It was pretty cool. And then after that, they offered to take us down to the I forget what it was called, but it was where they keep all their trophies. And instead of walking there, we walked to a pub and had some pints.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So I thought one of the funniest things about this entire experience is that it didn't include a Liverpool match. Like you were the Liverpool match. I mean, what was it, Wednesday? Yeah,
I think that they were trying to get people to a game. It was like the Saturday before. But I think nobody.
You're like, sorry, I'm in Dallas.
Yeah, I think nobody. Well, I think even like other people couldn't make it to that.
Mm-hmm.
So what we opted for a game in the middle of nowhere 2 nights ago in Leicester. So it was Liverpool at Leicester. We went to that game because Jimmer was not gonna go to Europe and not watch Liverpool play. So
that makes sense.
We watched them play.
Yeah.
What's that?
That was the Monday. They were the Monday weekend.
Yeah. Which was hilarious because we were sitting in the home section and Jimmer's trying to not be a Liverpool fan, like doing his best, biting his lip. But every single time Liverpool got a free kick or something, he's got his camera out trying to hide it from people. And I guess the people behind us found out. They were like, I guess Dylan or somebody heard him. They were like, wow, this guy's having the time of his life. So he was found out pretty quick there. I think also the scarf he had was a split scarf, and I think that
When he tucked the blue part in.
that probably gave it away as well. No, that was really fun. It was kind of sad too, because that fan base was deflated, defeated. They were walking out on their team. They were, basically every goal you'd see people head for the doors. And,
Yeah. And Jimmer's there having the time of his life.
Yep. He's like hiding that camera as he's recording it.
In fairness, I'll say that very rarely have I ever thought that Jimmer is not just always having the time of his life. No matter what he's doing, he is having the time of his life.
Yeah.
That reminds me when I was in Marseille for my first Sorare data trip, and we watched Nantes Marseille in Marseille, and Maxime was there, and like, you do not cheer for the away team at the Velodrome.
Well, he wasn't cheering, but he was like,
yeah, they went up 2-0. Really? He's like, come on. And then they lost 3-2. I think it was 3-2. So was it actually, were you in like the true like supporter section? I don't know if that's what they call it there. Or was it just like, it's just a home game? Everybody cheers.
Yeah, we weren't in the red section, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
A couple questions. Where do we fly back home from? Birmingham. It's truly in the middle of nowhere. It was fine. It was kind of it made the trip difficult because we had like an extra leg that was weird because we had to take a train to Birmingham and then another train to Leicester and then get back to Birmingham that night. It was complicated, but we got it done. I can't believe you two didn't spend a night in the cells. I also can't believe that. And then going undercover in Homans in the UK usually does not end well. Yeah, got away with it.
Jonathan's actually also asking you to rate the English pubs.
Oh man. When we were in Liverpool, do you know about Eurovision?
I do.
So Eurovision was going on while we were in Liverpool. So Liverpool was popping.
I bet.
And we found some nice laid back, like chill clubs or like pubs. But we also found like when we were out, I think it was the night before we traveled back to London, we found we thought we found a karaoke bar. So we were like, oh, karaoke bar, let's go in. This looks fun. And it was a drag karaoke bar with like a Eurovision theme. And we had a lot of pints there. It was fun. It was like humorous. The people there were like incredibly talented. The boys were getting hit on. It was a wild night.
Daniel Cooper saying Birmingham's the second biggest city in the country. Who knew?
I would have never guessed.
Apparently, we're right near Mike Baston, nearest airport. I'm going to share this picture that Mark took because I think everybody needs to see it. It's on Twitter, so I feel like it's okay for me to share it here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because if there was ever a picture that I don't think there's ever been a better picture that exemplifies you and Jimmer and this experience. This is it right here.
Yeah.
Sorry for those listening. Honestly, go to Spotify and look at it, or go to YouTube or Mark's, what is his Twitter? Blockchain YNWA. Oh. There we go. Birmingham in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very fuzzy ride.
In more ways than one, I'm sure. So this was after which game?
I don't think there were any games that day.
Oh, there was no game that day.
As you can see, my memory is
yeah.
No, Chelsea played that day. I'm wearing a Chelsea scarf.
That's why I was wondering, because you were wearing the scarf. Yeah.
So the Chelsea game was probably the worst game of the trip. Their like the atmosphere in that stadium was like the worst.
Wow.
Their fan base was like really lame.
Yeah, no, I've actually heard that about a lot of the bigger English clubs, and
Yeah.
not so much that their supporters are lame, but that the stadiums are just filled with people who don't care.
It was filled with tourists.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we
Which, in
ran into
fairness, like you're one of
Yeah,
them.
no, I get it. We ran into so many people where they were just not, they were not like fans of the team. We were just like
Sure.
ran into them, and they were from the States or they were from just all parts of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
The Nottingham fans were amazing though.
Hmm.
They cheered that entire game. They were singing that entire game. The Nottingham fans were quite great.
Hmm. So you did Chelsea, Nottingham Forest. You did Leicester, Liverpool. There was a West Ham game somewhere, right?
So there was the Europa Conference League West Ham game, the against AZ
Right.
was a lot of fun, and then we went to Brentford and West Ham.
Oh, Brentford. Right.
It was home game for Brentford.
Right.
Brentford was cool. It was it's kind of suburban. I think it's kind of on the outskirts of London. The like stadium atmosphere was a lot different than the other games. Like it was a lot of families, a lot of
Isn't it much smaller too?
yeah, like the stadium was maybe like 30,000.
Yeah.
I really don't know. It was definitely smaller. But that was great. Their fan base was fun. And that was a fun game.
Brentford,
West Ham
17,000.
17,000. Okay.
Yeah.
But like West Ham completely rotated in that game. And they just kind of rolled over a little bit, it felt like, because they got a big game this week.
Right. Mike Bassam was saying he had the same experience in Madrid. He was there for a city break and met so many people from the UK who flew in and flew back the same day. Man, I would love to be able to be close enough. But we were talking about that. Maybe you guys had mentioned it. And Maxime and Erwan were saying that PSG is just like that. Like nobody really cares. Like the ultras care, but they're just so outnumbered by tourists that
that's weird.
Yeah. I assume. Oh, and Maxime also said that about Camp Nou. That Barcelona matches are just like not silent, but they're just not nearly as for like 100,000 people. It's like most of them actually are just there to see. Well, usually Messi, but he's not there anymore. Maybe back. Maybe, please. So, are you ever going to be able to leave again to go to out of the country after you're gone for 2 weeks? And
the fact I made it back alive and like fairly good spirits, I guess. I think I'm good to go again.
Good to go.
Ready to go.
Is that a new West Ham shirt you're wearing right now?
It is new West Ham shirt. And then we picked up scarves at every, like a true tourist, picked up a scarf at every home match that I was at.
Yeah, that seems like something that should just happen though.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody's like, I can't believe you got a scarf. You're just like, yeah, I got a scarf.
Yeah.
It's basically like a ticket stub of the 21st century ticket stub.
Agree, but they're also a lot more practical over there because I was really not prepared for the weather. Little cooler than I expected. Mm-hmm. I brought like a full on raincoat just in case, thinking that like it could be like very not just like raincoat, like frog togs and pants and everything. I was like, if I go to a game and it's like soaking, I'm gonna be prepared. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to wear it once. It was just like the most wasted space in my luggage I've ever seen. But like it never really rained on us, I guess. Like we got like little times when it just kind of spit, but like not bad rain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's chilly and these come in handy for sure.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know if I have any other questions about the trip. I'm just jealous I didn't get to go.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. The Conference League game was probably the funnest game because there was so much on the line, so much. Yeah, like that game mattered a lot, and it was a home game for West Ham. They were electric in that stadium, and we were all kind of rooting for West Ham. Like we were not like secret away fans or anything in that game. Like we all actually have decent West Ham collections.
I was gonna say you seem somebody who would actually get a West Ham invite because of your collection.
Yeah, Yeah, and I was talking to, which by the way, I forgot to make a shout out to Tom C. He was kind of our host for a lot of these games. He helped
Mhm.
us navigate the city because none of us even live in a big city here in the States. So navigating a big city and then navigating a big city in the UK
Without knowing the
is
language.
oh please, but it was complicated for us, and it was nice to have somebody there to kind of help. And Tom was awesome. Um, he uh, he went to a couple of the games with us. He cooked us dinner one night. We went over to Tom's house and he cooked us dinner. It was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate his hospitality as it uh, honestly helped us, get through
Sure.
the city.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's no reason for you guys to have known what to do there.
yeah,
I mean, like to get
exactly.
around or like be familiar with the city, like the.
Yeah. The funniest part is I have never talked to Tom C. Uh, ever.
Yeah.
He said so. I think like the last day of the trip, I sent him a friend request on Discord because I told him I was going to treat myself to a Declan Rice super rare if I could get a hold of one. And I think he was either messing with me or something. He listed one for like 2.1 ETH, which was a little higher than I wanted to pay. So I friended him on Discord, and I was going to be like, "Hey, mate." And he immediately replied back, and he was like, "Hey, I had a pending friend request out to you from 2020, and you never." So I was like, "Shit."
Awkward.
Yeah, yeah. But we had never chatted before, and now it's like we have lifelong friendship there.
So it's funny that you bring this up. This is Mike saying new friends made.
Yeah.
So coincidentally, I tried to buy a card from Tom like 2 weeks ago, and I messaged him on Discord, and I did not have a pending friend request for the last 2 years from him. But we just started chatting, and like a week later, he was like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna like see Black at this Liverpool thing. They invited me," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And like we started chatting, and this is like a classic Sorare thing where you just like become friendly with people because we all like JPEGs.
Right.
And all of a sudden he sends me this picture and it's you and Jimmer, like, and he's like, "There, this is my house." And I was like, that's awesome. Like, this is
Yeah.
great. And yeah, I think that's what, like, one of the most fun things about Sorare as well. Just the random people you end up becoming friends with because of it.
We were playing
Like
board
you,
games.
Andy. You and
Yeah,
me.
we play exactly. Exactly. I think we were in the West stand, if that makes sense, John. I think we were in the West stand at
At
Stamford
Stamford
Bridge.
Bridge, yeah.
Um, Oscar, I didn't notice a ton different with the Liverpool accents, except for, yeah, I didn't even notice. I didn't notice anything. What happens when rice don't skip? Oh, when he
Did you
when he
get the
moves?
Rice Super Rare?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Come
I'm
on,
still working on
Tom.
it. I'm still working on it. And it probably won't be from Tom. I don't think Tom's a seller.
Um, let's see. Oh, he just got it too. And actually, you know what? Knowing Tom, and this is a joke I have with Tom, that every time Shavor's like, you can unfriend him now. um, every time I'm looking for a card of like some player, I always go to the card page and I'm like, who owns like this card? And lately, it's been a lot of super rares for me. And every single time I look for a super rare, Tom has one.
Of course.
Like, it feels like he owns a super rare every player on the platform. Anyway, Surface is asking what the best food you ate was, which is, I don't think England's really known for any of that. But
If you ask Jimmer, it would be it would be the Indian food we had on the flight over.
yeah, oh, on the flight, that is not what I was
he,
expecting.
he couldn't stop talking about it. It was you could have chicken or pasta on the flight over, and he chose chicken, and it was like a little like TV dinner of
Mm-hmm.
rice with like some chicken curry, it was like spicy chicken curry that went over it, and he could not stop talking about that for 12 days. He's like, we got to find some more of that airline food.
That airline food, yeah.
We did have McDonald's at 4:30 a.m. on a Yeah, at least someone got rice that
At least
weekend.
someone got rice that
Good one,
weekend. Well
John.
done.
Good
Well
one,
done,
John.
John.
No, we did have McDonald's at 4:30 a.m. and a Liverpool, like on the walk back from the bars in Liverpool, and their McDonald's was quite good. They had this, uh, yeah, that slapping Donskis at 4 a.m. So they had this crispy chicken sandwich that we don't have here, and it was quite nice.
Why don't we have it? What the hell?
I don't know. Yeah, Tom's meal was really good. He made us like a vegan Indian type dish, and it was really really good.
Okay. Jimmer said the food alone was worth the trip. Starting, see, his trip peaked early too with his meal
It
on
did.
the way to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds fun. So, do you think that, like, how reasonable is it that they do this for like a ton of clubs? Like, I'm guessing, like, logistically, it's a ton of work to do one of these, but I feel like they should do this every week.
Yeah. So probably every week is not going to happen, but I think the bigger Sorare grows, the bigger they get, the more realistic it is that they can offer more experiences like this.
Yeah.
I think that they also have to learn from the things that didn't go great, improve those, and make sure that like the next one you do, I don't want to say that you do it 100% right, because there's always going to be things that don't go perfect, but learn from your mistakes and make them better. Um, but honestly, for me, it was like, it felt like as we were going through the experience that it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, they could have done this, or like they were just small tweaks that they could have done to make it better. But like realistically, I'm like just thinking about like St. Louis City. I don't know how they would develop that type of relationship with them where they could offer this type of experience. And I think that they're not going to have that relationship with every club.
Yeah.
They're only going to have that relationship with, certain clubs.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah, it's not like these things are like written into a licensing agreement. Like, oh yeah, we want 3 games that we can have our friends play on your pitch every season, and do that for 330 clubs or whatever they're up to now.
Maybe they could with um like a league. Like maybe they have that level of agreement with Major League Soccer, and maybe they would be able to force these teams into offering those types of experiences. I don't know. I mean, does seem like MLS does seem like the type of league that could tell clubs, no, you're going to do this.
Yeah.
Like technically, don't they own all the teams or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they lost like the Mineiro license. Dan was like, "Hey, we need to have a match on your pitch," and they're like, "Yeah, we don't do that." And they're like, "All right, we're out. I won't do it. No chance." Going back to the actual game, like the Anfield game,
Mm-hmm.
if Harry was the best player there, so feel free to offend everyone. Who were like the next best actual footballers?
Our goalkeeper was insanely good.
Oh, I heard that. I did hear that as well.
Yeah. There was another lad that played center back on our team. He played right alongside Harry. He was quite good. Haber was quite good. They had one guy on their team that was kind of tall. I don't know who he was. He was good. I think I'm missing someone. But yeah, like those were the standout players, and it helped also too. We had the superior coach. I felt like Quinny was kind of the assistant coach, but Robbie Fowler, like honestly, was doing a good job with subs and rolling people in quick and identifying when somebody was gassed and getting them off the pitch. So yeah,
Stitch made it sound like he was definitely in it to win it. Meaning Robbie Fowler was in it to win it.
Yes, Robbie Fowler wanted to win that game.
Yeah.
He gave a good halftime speech, like let the field do the work. I'm sure they have it on video where it was just like, don't try to do too much. You guys are playing a little too complex. Simplify the game. He gave a nice little speech to just kind of like calm everyone down a little bit and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
everybody to play a little more simple.
That's shocking to me that you you guys were playing too complex.
I think there might have been people trying to score worldies or
Yeah.
maybe taking a couple too many touches.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Jimmer said, Dan said that MLS is pretty forward thinking and very open with the potential experiences.
Love it.
Oscar's asking if Nellis played. The only reason I know Nellis played is because I think Haber tweeted out a video of his goal, and I think it came from Nellis. And he apologized for the heavy breathing in the video when Nellis was wearing a mic, and so that was the heavy breathing. So I assume Nellis was playing and not just heavily breathing on the sideline while watching.
No, he played. He played, and John was good.
Did Alex play, or was he just the camera guy?
Just the camera guy.
Just the camera guy. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Nellis, if you're listening, still waiting for that podcast with Alex. By the way, just saying. Anyway. So I got nothing else actually.
I got a question for you. So as far as like identifying people to go on these experiences in the future.
Yeah.
For this one, it seemed like the Liverpool fans that they identified, it was based on just number of cards held or number of cards in their account. It's probably not the greatest metric. They have these collections now. What do you think is the right metric for determining who the biggest fans for a particular club are on the platform?
It's a great question. And I started thinking of it while listening to Quinny and Stish talk about it, specifically whoever this user was who had like 40 limited cards and 30 of them were Liverpool. Like I think like a basic percentage, minimum number of cards and then a percentage if they are one club, like that. I get it. I kind of loved this idea that nobody really knew this was coming and that it didn't give people the opportunity to be like, oh, let me just gobble up a bunch of whatever cards so that I can go to this experience. Like it felt like they found the organic collectors who were like, I support Liverpool. I want to own Liverpool cards. And that's how they found them. And so even if they do start offering these experiences up, whether it's in SO5 competitions or you can use coins to get them, I do think that there's like a great like mystery aspect of it, of like which one could be next that they invite everyone to. And it's like, oh, you have the most Napoli cards. Well, if you can make it to Naples in a month, we'd like you to play on the pitch. And so I think that would get to people to start being like, oh, maybe I should collect my club a little bit more. And given that we're not allowed to sell cards anymore, giving more people reasons to collect cards is good.
You didn't really answer my question. What's the right metric? Like, what if I have a unique?
I think it's like a percentage. I think you can go by like just volume, like total number of cards that you bought. And I realize that the higher scarcities, you can account for that buying like one Liverpool super rare probably costs more than every limited that you can get. But yeah, I think they can assign and, do a basic formula, like 10 points for a super rare, 5 for a rare, 1 for a limited, and just however many cards you have, that's it. Like, I don't think there needs to be a specific like formula to do it. Like you're only inviting, would they invite 30 people? Was it even that many?
It was like probably 25 or 26. Yeah, I think each team maybe had like 2 or 3 subs.
Yeah, so like you could get an idea of like you manually at some point you're like, all right, here's our list. Does this group make sense? And Dan or someone who works for Dan can just be like, okay, yeah, these look like true supporters of the club, or they've become them because of Sorare. Like I think that's another thing that Sorare kind of can offer, that if you weren't necessarily, you had no idea this club existed 2 years ago, and now you have 20 of their cards, like, yeah, you should be able to go to a Bruges game if you can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where would you want to go next?
Let's go to Bruges. Let's go to Bruges. No.
Why
I think
not?
that I think a Belgian tour would be fun.
Definitely. Like
Um,
that makes a ton of sense. Like just the where like Sorare and the Jupiler League have been since basically the beginning. Not basically, they were right. They were the first, right?
yeah, they were the OGs along
Right.
with West Ham. Yeah.
Right.
But it would be cool, and hopefully that is a league that they would have that level of relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it just makes it just makes a ton of sense in order to like in order to do that. Charlie was saying a mix of fans of that club, influencers, whales, and people buying in the experience in the Sorare shop is the best. Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think the
Yep.
idea of like having like I don't it's either influencers or like content people, like just going back to what I said before, you need people to like show how good of a time this is. And you don't always want that story coming from Sorare. Being like, look how much we give you. And it's like, no, this is how much I got. And you could do that. Mike's saying you could probably get a good tour of Belgium and Holland in 12 days. I don't even, yeah, absolutely. The problem is they all play they're only playing mostly on the weekends and stuff. But yeah, I think, I don't know what they're going to do in terms of this, but like having this be something that is part of the platform that you can do these sort of things is really cool. Like really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely the way that they like take their platform to the however you want to put it, take it to the next level. Is to be able to include stuff like this.
Right. Completely unrelated. Do you know how many Declan Rice super rare cards there are?
Probably 35.
26. Seems like a lot to me.
Seems like not that many to me. I mean, he's had cards since 2018. 5 years.
I guess that's true. Yeah. 26
That's
super
shocking. That is shocking. It's that low.
Well, the first year got up to 10. Oh wait, but they lost the license for a while. That's why they haven't had every year since.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
They
Yeah.
had 18, 19, 19, 20, and then the new launch edition. It's only 3 years.
How many Declan Rice cards are available to be purchased on the market right now?
There are 0 rares, 0 super rares, and 3 limiteds on the secondary market and 1 auction. But did they play midweek?
They do. They play away to AZ. Yeah.
Yeah, people decided to play.
Lister played, baby.
Yeah, people played. Although I do see a few rares that were not played. For those of you who are unaware that you can do this now on Sorare data, if you go to a player page and go to the cards, along with our market tags, you can see if cards are used or not in this current game week. So if you go to the super rares, which we were just talking about, 26 super rares, looks like a bottle bore is not using one, and a few other people. What is that? 4 of the 26 are unused this game week.
Sounds like there's 4 that I can make an offer on.
Sounds it. Yep.
I did make an offer on the FA Cup version right there, the purple. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I think it's an outstanding card, and
yeah, that's really cool.
Instantly rejected.
Yeah, I bet. They should write on there, not available for sale. Charlie saying when dark mode. Charlie, I don't know if you watched Office Hours yesterday, but we are coming out with a new tool for the collection score, and that's going to be in dark mode. And I believe Maxime said every feature that we add from now on will be in dark mode. And then we'll slowly start adjusting all of the old ones. So it's coming. Don't worry. ZM Star said ETH only. Black.
Can you catch me up a little bit on that change? I have not even looked at it.
Yeah, so trading isn't allowed anymore. You can't do cards for cards.
That's bullshit.
It's bullshit because I made one today. But anyway, you can set your account to only accept ETH for cards that you have in your gallery. And so you literally will not get card trades sent to you. And you can do it by support.
I get it, but also I think it's dumb.
I agree with you completely.
The only reason is if I get dumb offers or offers that I think are bad, usually I'll reject them. Sometimes I'll just ignore them. Both are fine. But every once in a while I'll get an unsolicited card for card offer that I really like or really makes sense, and I'll accept it or I'll counteroffer it. I don't like the idea of just I don't like the idea that it's just a blanket. Like, maybe, you know what I would like if it were like prevent managers to propose cards as part of a trade to you, and then have like a filter for the scarcities, and I could say I don't want any limiteds. I don't want any limiteds offered to me. Not interested in your limiteds.
Yeah. So where I thought you were going with this was, I think Zarchi was the first one that I heard say this. He wished he could do it by card, or almost like set it to ETH only, but then or be able to set individual cards as ETH only.
Yeah.
I actually think that is a really good idea, because there are people who are willing to trade, but like sometimes, like there are cards sometimes that I have for sale that I would rather I would just rather ETH. But there are other cards where I'm willing to trade. And so I don't want to like just blanketly say, just give me ETH for everything. But that's it. Nanzo was saying the spam of trade offers is beyond ridiculous. And I would believe that for Nanzo.
For sure.
But I don't know. I would never say ETH only. But whatever. So, that's what I was going to say. So I think per card would be good. I think per scarcity is probably just too technically difficult.
But per card's not too technically difficult?
Yeah, for some reason I'm convinced that the card one is easier than... Because, like, you don't want limiteds, but what if somebody wants one of your limiteds? I traded for a limited today, by the way. I think I'm...
What limited?
Lee Hanbum rookie card. I only did it because I literally did not own a limited defender, and I think I want to start playing Cap 240 with Fred Emmings as my goalie.
Yeah.
The old Fred Emmings, Lionel Messi combo this game week. Anyway.
Interesting.
What did Surface say here? I agree. It might have been better to have granular filters that would make it less of a chainsaw versus scalpel situation. But for me, the amount of ridiculous offers... the amount of offers was ridiculous as well, and overall it's been great. ZM Star said limited Fred for super rares only. Now we're talking. Yeah, no, I think it was made for people like Surface and Nanzo, who have a bunch of really good cards that people want to try to get from them for a ton of garbage, even though neither of them have a history of accepting those types of transactions. I'm sure they still just get plenty. But to be honest, I'm very excited about whenever I get an offer. So being good or bad, I like them. So shutting down card trades, no thank you.
To wrap up this podcast, or this, I think it's important for me to tell a story about a kid named Nick. You ready to hear a story about a kid named Nick?
Please.
So we were at this pub before the Chelsea game, and it was a Chelsea home team pub. They were singing. Everybody was drinking beers, cheersing each other, and they were singing about Frank Lampard. Uh, this kid walks up to
Positively?
me. Yeah. They love him. They love him. Super frank. So this kid walks up to me, and he's just like, "Hey, I don't even remember what he said, but I could tell he was American." I was like, "Hey, where are you from?" And he's from he's from Florida, and he was like, I just graduated from Florida State, man." And young kid, 20 something, 22, 23 years old, and uh, he was backpacking Europe for the next month. So
As
I'm
you
like,
do.
all right, yeah, I'm like, all right, this is cool. So he was going to the Chelsea game. We we had a couple beers together. He was kind of hanging out with us because he didn't know anybody there, and we all went to the game. Uh, we could actually see him down in the front row with the right next to the Nottingham fans. Um, and he was having a great time, but I guess he was drinking a lot. Uh, Super nice kid when we met him. After the game, we ran into him again, and he was he was having a really good time.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was very very American and like not afraid to let people know about that. So he decided that he was just going to kind of follow us around. Uh, we were going to meet up with Mark, and he's tagging along. Um, we got on a train. He's talking shit to Nottingham fans as we're leaving. Uh, Almost got into a fight. Uh, we get to where we're going. Basically, some Nottingham fans are like, "Hey, I bet you won't tornado this beer." So he's got a glass bottle on the train, and he's freaking tornadoing it on the train, and just getting absolutely obliterated. So he follows us along. We go out. We go get dinner. We make it to the next stop, and he's still acting a fool. Um, all along the way, just making, yes, Florida man in Liverpool. He is like absolutely like prototypical how they view Americans over in Europe. Like Florida man is going nuts. The night ended with us at the oldest wine bar in uh, London. It's
Yeah,
like
the
it's
English
like
wine always always something that everyone's
dude,
looking for.
to this kid, he was drinking juice boxes. It was
Oh.
like Capri Suns, and he was buying bottles for us on his mom's credit card. And we were like, "Sure, man, get another bottle." "Yeah, what's another bottle?" "Get another one, buddy." He just keeps buying bottles, and he's sucking these things down like they're Capri Suns. Uh, Night ended with him basically getting cut off and kicked out of the bar. I believe he asked for their fattest glass of wine, and they were like, "Oh, you want our finest glass of wine?" He's like, "No, man, the fattest. I want the fattest glass of wine." Got cut off, asked to leave.
Did he have his backpack on the entire time?
He had like a he had like one of those ones that goes across like your chest. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think he's in France now, spreading the love of America to all these French people. I told him to be careful. I was like, "Hey, man, we're like kind of putting up with you, but a lot of other people across Europe are not going to put up with this." So he's probably fighting somewhere in jail or something. True Florida man.
Man, I I will say that he probably found the easiest going people he probably could have by.
He lucked out with us. We were
Yeah,
trying to
that's what
help
I
him.
mean. Yeah.
We were trying to help this kid, but yeah, he might not make it back, or that his mom's credit card is going to be maxed out. He kept telling us he was on a budget, but then he whipped out mom's credit card.
Yeah, he was on his own budget and mom's unlimited budget.
Yeah,
Did you at least give him your referral code?
I did not know. Sorry. Yeah, dropped the
So
ball
you
there.
found a guy with unlimited budget who was drunk and could easily have just bought a bunch of JPEGs, and you were like, "I'm going to let this one slide."
Yeah, I think I was more concerned about keeping him and us out of jail,
Yeah, yeah.
or out of a fight.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. You're an adult. You get it. You get it. Well, Nick, if you're out there, there's a link in the description if you want to join Sorare.
Yeah, and if you join, we'll both get a limited card and maybe even the fattest glass of wine. Tell you what, if you join, I will buy you the fattest glass of wine.
There it is. I don't think that's allowed, Andy. I'm pretty sure that's against the terms of service. You cannot provide additional gifts just to use your referral link. But we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Well, that sounded like a great trip. Good to have you back. Good luck with your recovery, which surely will take a few more days. Thank you to everybody for joining us. If you guys have not hit the like button, can you please do so? And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What is today? Today's Wednesday. I don't think I have a video for tomorrow, but I'll be back on Friday with office hours and then back next week for the regular Sorare Data content plan. So thanks, everyone. And we'll see you around.